So many people try to act so responsible that it makes them come off as boring. 14 minutes of unpopular opinions from people just like you. Friend-zoning someone is just as hard as being friend-zoned. I'll say for some cases but not all. Usually there's two types of friend-zoning. Realizing someone you thought of as a close friend only wanted to get with you feels really uncomfortable. Like when you think someone is just genuinely nice and cares about you, only to realize they were nice because they wanted more. And then they treat you different after because you won't give them what they want. It sucks and it hurts when someone completely cuts you off because you don't want to sleep with them, so you're not worth their time anymore. Or when you care about someone who cares about you and you have to turn them down because you don't feel the same. There's such immense guilt because at some point you wish you could feel that way so you don't hurt them, but you just can't. It changes an entire relationship. I still feel guilty about times I've had to respectfully say I'm not interested in a relationship with a person. People always get mad or hurt about being friend-zoned and act like the person was purposely trying to make them feel bad, but that's not true. Just because someone wants to be your friend and not more doesn't make them a shitty person. Having to see the disappointment when someone puts themselves out there is hard, especially when they're a close friend. I've been on both sides and honestly, both hurt just as bad. Now, before anyone says if you feel bad just date them, lying about your feelings to someone to make them feel better for a short period just to break their heart later is worse than being honest. Customer service needs to be improved. In its place, basic human decency, respect, and manners should be used, just like in any other interaction. It is not hard to ask for something to be remade, refunded, or replaced without your over-the-top emotions. Speaking here as someone who has worked in customer service for well over a decade, I know I am not alone when I say that entitlement has gone too far. I cannot calmly handle this anymore, and I don't think anyone should have to. Screaming fits in stores, challenging company policies, berating employees who are simply doing their job, and generally considering yourself more special than anyone else is gross and pathetic. You are not special. You shit, piss, and cry just like everyone else on this fucking planet, so you get back what you put out. I am not paid enough to deal with adult children who aren't even my own. And before you tell me this isn't unpopular, yes, it is. Or it wouldn't still be happening. This is my hill, and I intend to die on it. Older people are more interesting than young people. There was an extract from a newspaper I read a few years ago where a comedian quipped, "Young people think that just because they can dress, walk, and drive by themselves, they've got the whole world figured out," and despite it being a joke, to be honest, I've always felt that way. I simply couldn't relate to or care enough about the banal things people in my age group talked about, and the certainty in which some of them expressed themselves was something I didn't understand. Generally speaking, most of the time my friends, and their friends, just sat around listening to terrible music, texting their next hookup, and engaging in recreational drug use. Which is why for me it was always refreshing talking to somebody with a bit more life experience, gaining an insight from certain past transgressions, and how they learned or moved on from their mistakes. I've got a bit of a soft spot for old people, 70 plus. I love just spending a bit of time with them, and sometimes ask how things were like when they were younger. Their recollections are a brief glimpse from another time. I find that elderly people are far more interesting than young people, bless them. "I'm just being honest" is not an excuse to be an asshole. When nobody asked for your opinion, it's not honesty, it's just poor impulse control and lack of awareness of how others are feeling. Honesty is when somebody asks you a question and you don't lie, sugarcoat it or twist the truth. Honesty is when you break something and instead of hiding it, you tell your parents or friends right away. Honesty is when you own up to your mistakes. You can be kind and honest without sugarcoating it. You can be honest without letting everybody else know your business or what you're talking about. You can be honest without hurting somebody else's feelings. Please, stop mistaking honesty with being horrible to others because you're desperate to voice your own opinion. 0 or low view YouTube videos are not among the best content on the platform. Free from cringy thumbnails, choppy editing, and pesky sponsorships. These YouTube videos are the internet equivalent of From Farm to Table. You will be hard-pressed to find the same level of sincerity and passion that so often seeps from these gems than you would in any 50,000+ viewed video. The disparity obviously could start at much lower viewed popular content, but generally speaking, not only will you find fresh faces sharing unfiltered perspectives, you could also find, if you're persistent enough with your searching, a prime candidate for some high-quality, newly discovered by you, unintentional ASMR for when it's time to unwind and relax. So please, next time you feel as though there isn't any fulfilling content in your feeds, I implore you to set YouTube search filters to sort by upload date, and discover for yourself the endless possibilities of stellar content. School uniforms in public schools are a scam. They say it helps poor kids fit in, but school uniforms are way more expensive than regular kids' clothes sold from traditional retailers. A school uniform polo shirt for a little kid costs $30 or more. And you have to buy the school shirt with the school logo from the school's preferred vendor. I can go to Gap Kids or J. Crew or Target and find a little kid's polo for $10 or less. It's way more convenient to go to a traditional retailer with many more choices and options. These school uniform vendors are often small operations, and getting any mistake fixed is a huge, timely matter. For something that I can get fixed at Target in a single trip takes 4 weeks to get fixed through school uniform vendors who only deal in snail mail. And those who have money can still stand out by wearing the latest sneakers, getting their hair done with the latest trend, or wearing the hottest makeup and jewelry. And they say school uniforms discourage fighting. Really? Go to Reddit and you'll find video after video of kids fighting in their school uniforms. School uniforms are a scam, and I'm sure it's just a way for the school district and those in charge of the school district to make money. There are video game soundtracks that are as good or better than general music. I prefer to listen to video game music more than general music. There's some general music I like, but video game music has always been more interesting to me. I also prefer music that is more instrumental than vocal. Sometimes the vocals mess up a really good general music. Sometimes instrumental is better because you can interpret the feeling the music gives without someone's vocals. Most adults are very boring people. For reference, I'm in my early 20s. I have noticed that since I graduated college, the general idea with adults is that they always claim they don't have the time to do anything fun or interesting. So many people try to act so responsible that it makes them come off as boring. When we were young, this soul-sucking energy didn't really exist. I don't know how to explain it, but everyone seemed genuinely more hopeful. Where did the idea come from that once you turn 21, you aren't allowed to have fun and have to have a pessimistic attitude about everything? Everyone is so caught up in their job or other responsibilities that they forget how short life truly is, and that it should at least be tried to be enjoyed. I don't know. It just frustrates me because I still feel like a kid at heart, and nobody I know really matches that energy. It's depressing, honestly. I just want to go back to the simple days. Half the people who criticize the fat acceptance movement are not motivated by concern for people's health. They are only taking advantage of fat people as easy targets for mockery. I'll preface this by saying the obvious: obesity is bad. Everyone knows it's unhealthy and it shouldn't be seen as an acceptable thing. I'm not saying I agree with the fat acceptance movement. However, there are too many people on social media who will call this movement out and sit on their computers all day, order shitty fast food, eat shitty snacks, drink soda, no exercise, no care for their health whatsoever, but because they're not fat they think they're healthy. These people are not healthy. They don't care about their health or the health of fat people. They simply just want to shit on fat people because they're easy to make fun of and it makes them feel better about themselves. They think, I might have my own problems but at least I'm not fat. I have no desire to meet a celebrity or movie star, and I don't understand why most people do. I see so many posts about people who met their favorite movie star or musician and it was the best day of their lives. Or polls of if you could spend one whole day with any famous persons, who would it be? And I just don't get it. Yeah, they're in movies you love or sing songs you love, but why would anyone actually want to meet them? Someone you probably have zero in common with, who won't remember you 5 minutes after you walk away. The meeting would probably amount to 2 minutes of awkward conversation and a quickly scribbled signed photo before you're shuffled off so the next in the queue can take your place for the same generic 2 minutes. Add to the fact that it's probably costing you hundreds of dollars and hours of your time for 2 minutes, and it's never seemed worth it to me. The true crime genre is scarier than the supernatural genre. Stories and movies related to true crime are way more unsettling and scary. They give me sleepless nights. I don't know why, but whenever the topic of let's watch some horror, or let's watch something scary comes up, it's always the generic ghost demon related movies that are picked. The fact that, with true crime, everything has actually happened, and it is explicitly detailed, you get an insight into the whys and hows. Knowing that there are people out there capable of such atrocities is scarier than a ghost haunting a family or something like that. Cases like the Zodiac Killer, the Tolva double murders, and the Burari mass suicides were so terrifying to me that I couldn't even go to the bathroom alone at night. But with horror films, it's like jump scares, exorcism, family is no longer haunted, semi-happy ending, and done. The blockbuster era was a better time than what we have now. You could go in and look at the latest content all in one place. Nowadays, you need 5 or more subscriptions to try and get everything. The subscription for everything economy of today's world mixed with the spread of content makes consumers suffer. Afterthought, it would be awesome if these modern content companies, Netflix, Disney, Bo, etc. all shared one platform and put their content on it. Whoever's content is viewed, gets paid revenue accordingly. Everyone wins except companies that make shite content. Villain-focused movies are more fun than hero ones. This is disregarding superhero movies. The idea behind it is very simple. When the protagonist is a good guy, the story becomes very predictable. 10 to 20 minutes in, you know what's going to happen for the rest of the movie. They will face insurmountable odds, multiple hurdles, and they'll get away from them unscathed. Before the first act ends, you already know everything and you are watching it just for the artistic experience. A bad guy as a protagonist is conflicting. You don't want to like them, but they are the protagonists, so you get drawn into the story anyhow. They are free to suffer harm, and in the third act there is the possibility they get caught, die, or get away with it. They can be lucky, they can be unlucky. The possibilities are endless, as any bad thing happening to them would be justified, and any good thing happening can be luck or smarts or 100 different things. They can be bad for no reason, or have a tragic backstory. They can have a change of heart and still die, they can stay evil and die, or set up an empire. There's so much room for storytelling. A good guy story is very linear, he has to win literally or morally. There is no other outcome. He could fall in a pit of snakes and you know he's going to get out of it somehow. Bad guy, you have no idea. There are 100 good guy movies for one bad guy one. It's just very overdone, with very limited storytelling options. Did you agree with any of these opinions? I like the one about small YouTube creators. Hopefully you will agree and subscribe to see my latest content.